Hi, Jack Canfield here. Welcome back to the final segment of Talking About Success today. My next guest is Nathan Doyel, who is a guy who's cracked the code on how to break through the ceilings that we all live under. We talk about glass ceilings, we talk about the ceilings on our roofs and so forth, and we have ceilings that block us in terms of achieving our full potential. And he's figured out how to help us do that, and has written a book by that title called Raise Your Ceilings, Moving Beyond Your Limits. And just welcome. Glad to have you here.
Thank you very much.
Because too many people are suffering from this reality where they hit a plateau and they don't even know it. It's like they're in cages, but they don't realize there's a door, and they're not even aware they're in a cage.
Yeah.
So you've figured out how to help people move beyond that.
That's right.
So you've written this book. Talk about the book a little bit, then we'll talk about what's in it.
Well, that's right. So we have these ceilings that we've created, and we don't even know they're there oftentimes. Mm-hmm. And they stem from our comfort zones. And so there's three different kinds of comfort zones that we're describing in our book. The first one is what's called a reactive comfort zone. It's where it's like a circle within a circle, basically like a target. The first area in there is basically where you are comfortable, mm-hmm. and you know everything about that area. You don't need to do anything, but no learning goes on. Outside, that's where the learning goes on, beyond your comfort zone where you're uncomfortable. So let's say you wanted to learn how to play the piano. You don't know how to play it today, but you decide, I'll take action. I'll start learning to play the piano. You now start learning and you expand that comfort zone, and you keep doing that. That's called reactive. You take action, it reacts to you. The second one's called a proactive comfort zone. This one looks more like a ceiling and a floor. And the floor and the ceiling, basically, the top of it, we call it a deserve level, where basically you've decided that certain things you aren't deserving of, or you aren't capable of. You can't receive those things, or they aren't for you. One example we have is we worked with a dentist years ago who was convinced that he couldn't produce more than $50,000 and be a quality, ethical dentist. That's just impossible. You had to give up ethics or quality. So we arranged for him to meet with another dentist who was producing $200,000.
This is a month, a year?
This is a month.
$200,000 a month, okay.
$200,000 a month, right.
The other guy's doing $50,000
$50,000 a month, right.
4 times more, okay.
Correct. And so he met with him, and one of the things I asked him afterwards, so how did it go? What did you learn? He says, I am embarrassed, because what I saw was that dentist came in, spent a little over 15 minutes in the room with the dentist, with the patient, did all the work. He was preparing a crown. He got finished, and he said goodbye to the patients, very cordial, everything about it was great, left the room, and he spent 15 minutes. That same procedure was an hour and a half for him, or 2 hours, for the same time he would have spent doing it. And he said, I've got to look at see what kind of quality it was. He sat down and looked at it, and it was better quality than he's ever done. And that shocked him. He said, well, obviously, his paradigm he had in the past of, I can't be a quality ethical dentist and produce more than $50,000 was a lie. Mm-hmm. And so now the next process is, how do you go from where you're at to the next level? And part of it is our inner talk, that narrative he had, breaking that narrative. First of all, recognizing that narrative is the first step, and then breaking that narrative, rewriting your scripts that you've been telling yourself, and moving on back. That's what we talk about in the book, is how to break those.
Very cool. You said something before we came on air, that all learning takes place outside your comfort zone.
That's right. That circle on that reactive one, that inner circle is where you are most comfortable, but no learning's going on. You're comfortable there. There's nothing more to learn. You know everything in that circle. It's what's outside that circle where you'll learn more, where you become uncomfortable because you don't know those things. Yeah.
So one of my teachers said you got to get comfortable, being uncomfortable.
Yeah, you do.
It's very cool.
Yeah.
Now you also talk about this prophetic affirmations, I think you call it.
And that's part of, yeah.
Talk about that.
Thank you. So prophetic affirmations came when I served a mission in Chicago for several years, working with a man named William Tanner, Dr. Tanner. He was a specialist in self-esteem. And he worked with us finding new ways of saying I am. And you would say it in a way, I am smart. And at the time when I was young, I was a C student in high school. I did not do well in high school. He worked with me saying I am smart. And so when I said I am smart, it came out as a lie to me. It was like, well, I'm not smart. And so I had to learn that that's a prophetic affirmation. It's what I'm professing. As much as negative things we say, I can't be smart, that was the affirmation I was doing that was negative, professing that. I'm now professing a positive affirmation, saying I am smart. I came back from my mission, I went back to school, and I got all A's after that. which from a student in high school, now I'm a doctor, it's a big change for somebody. So obviously I had these things, potentials inside me, but I was not reaching them because of my self-doubts, my self-talk, the narratives I've written to myself. So that's where prophetic affirmations come in as part of that process of breaking that ceiling.
But you're saying when you first started saying affirmations, there was this inner voice that said, no, that's not true.
That's right.
But when you realize and could frame it that we're professing what's going to be true,
Right.
then you were able to do it and listen to it, not fight with it, and eventually it had the effect that you wanted it to have.
That's exactly right. That's why we coined it as prophetic affirmation.
I love that. That's cool.
Thank you.
What else is in your book?
So one of the things we talk about also, that when we realize that there's this ceiling here, there's also opportunities that we're unaware of. And one of the things I like is back when I had my first car, it was a Datsun 510. Ugly orange Datsun 510 station wagon, ugly thing.
Yeah.
But it was $500, so I could afford it. But when I bought it, I had no idea this car was even made. I didn't know what it was, but it was cheap. I began driving that car, and what began to happen, I began programming in my mind to look for that car. When I go out to the street to look for my car, I look for that orange Datsun. But as I began to do that, in a few weeks, I began driving around, and I'd see more of those Datsun 510s out there, as if suddenly somebody had sold a bunch of these cars, because I had never seen these cars before, so I thought. We call that selective awareness. Mm-hmm. That selective awareness is also what we can call it selective blindness as well, because I was blind to those cars. But that same idea happens when we have our comfort zones, the ceiling of it. Up here is where it's all these opportunities that are there. They've been there, but they're blind to us because they're outside our comfort zones, they're above our deserve levels. And so when we raise our deserve levels first, then those opportunities that were always there become obvious to us. We now can take advantage of those things because now they're in our comfort zones.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
I've had that experience. I buy a new car, and all of a sudden it's like everyone, where did they all come from?
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know, and you start seeing them.
Right.
But I never, and I teach this stuff, I never related that to seeing opportunities. It was always something physical. You know, you need a refrigerator, and you start seeing refrigerator ads in the paper. They were always there, but you didn't need one,
Right.
so you didn't see it. But taking it out of the physical into the mental realm, that's a great breakthrough.
Thank you.
Welcome.
It's interesting is that even that dentist that we were talking about earlier, he now had to go back and start looking at it from a different viewpoint, saying, okay, now when I raised my ceilings, I now can see opportunities, see systems I can put in place. I can see ways I can change things, opportunities where I can get so you start seeing things you didn't see before, that now they're obvious to you. They're opportunities that you didn't know existed. So you become aware of them.
I went to a seminar once. You had to be a millionaire to be in it.
Yeah.
And there were two kind of millionaires, ones that were self-made and ones that were inherited.
Yeah.
And the self-made millionaire said, I can go anywhere in the world, take all my clothes, identification, everything, and I'll be a millionaire again in a year or two. Because they can't not see opportunity.
It's exactly it.
Exactly
You got
what
it.
you're saying.
It's exactly it.
Yeah,
Right?
exactly. Way cool.
They see those opportunities that were there. That's why those men have gone, or women have gone bankrupt, who are millionaires, tend to be able to make it again. Because they can see things that no people, they're below their deserve level. Yeah.
So one of the questions I always like to ask people, is there a question you wish I would ask you that I didn't ask that would allow you to talk about something you want to talk about? Is there such a question?
Yeah, I think, one of the things I look at too is the affirmations we do create. Sometimes we say things because we're scared of making it a prophetic affirmation. We'll say things, well, someday I will have the home of my dreams. Someday. Right. And that's an experience we had too, is that someday, I call it the someday stick because it always is out there. It's always in front of you. It's not who you are today. It's not who you're becoming. It's someday out in the future. The stick on the back of the donkey, that holds the carrot out there.
Oh, yeah.
That as the donkey walks forward, so does the carrot.
Right.
It's ever in front of you. So you change those words from the someday I will, to I am. I am a man who has my dream home, or I enjoy living in my dream home, or I am smart and capable. And those are the different things we work with. And
That's great. A children's book author gave me a book 2 years ago, which I gave to my son to read to his son, my grandson, and it was called Someday is Not a Day of the Week. It's true. So it's affirming the nowness of it.
Exactly.
Yeah, very good.
Yeah.
Cool. And then your unconscious says, okay, we got to figure that out.
It's exactly what happens.
Yeah.
It's interesting because those opportunities show up. And you don't have to work hard at it. You don't have to go hunt for it. Those things show up. It's like those cars driving around. They were there. And suddenly you now become aware of them. Opportunities are there. You just become more aware that they're there, and you can take advantage of them now.
Very good.
Yeah.
So if people want to get through their ceilings and not be stuck anymore, and they want to contact you, read your book, where do they go? How do they find out more?
Our website is raiseyourceilings.com.
Raiseyourceilings.com.
Yeah.
Very good.
We'll put more and more information on there, where our seminars will be, where the books come out, and all information will be there.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent. Well, you're a good guy doing
I
good work in the
appreciate
world.
it.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Yeah.
Keep it up.
Thanks. Appreciate
All
it.
right. Well, it's been a great show this day. We've had 3 wonderful guests, and so we're looking forward to seeing you all next week and talking about success. So until then, take care, take some risks, create the life you want.